college is worth less if you're poor. So this is age 25. This is from the Brookings Institution. These are really, really good data. Okay, they got it from the Census Department. So here's at age 25 to 61. Okay, these are recent data. So bachelor's degree, parents not poor. This is how much money people make in college, okay? This is your annual earnings by education and parents' income. So here, at age 25, this can be your income. And then it goes up, bachelor's degree, parents are not poor, and then look where you end up. But here we go, look at this. Bachelor's degree, parents are poor. So this line right here is Nushina, right? I got it? Yeah. Nushina and Abby. That's this one right here. Because their parents had money. And this line down here is these two. Look at that. They can work just as hard. These are averages, you all, right? These are averages. This is like, these two can have the same majors as them. They can work just as hard as them. And here's where they are, right there. The fuck? Seriously. We have this idea that, no, but Penn State, that's not what it is here. As I look out in the room, you're all equal. You're not equal. These two, those three, are not equal to the 5 people who were sitting up on that table the other day. And for a lot of reasons, that's where you're going to end up. Part of it is, you might end up here. Like any one person might. These are averages. One person, look, Mandy might just be like, nah, but look, I got really lucky. I'm an engineering major, and I got really lucky. I got into this company, and the company just fast-tracked me, and then watch. And then go ahead. She's up the stairs, and before we know it, she's up right next to Abby here in 10 years, right? So 10 years down there, she's next to Abby. One story. That's one story. I don't care about one story. I care about this whole room here. And the whole room is telling me that people who are going to start down here, these folks here, are not going to end up on average where these people are for a variety of reasons. And look, it's the same thing as with a high school degree. You see that, right? So now, think about race and class. And think about race. And think about the extraordinary, the greater value of wealth in the hands of white families. And this is the same kind of thing we see going on. It's like, come on, man. It doesn't mean they can't. That's not what we're talking about. It doesn't mean they can't. It doesn't mean that. But what it means is when you see this extraordinary... Can you go back to the one graph, to D, the D graph? When you see this right here, these folks here, dude, there's so much happening here that's not happening here. Do you know what it takes to go from here to here? And that in the media, like if one of you goes from down here to up here, we can put it out in the media, it's on CNN, we can write stories about it, we can talk about it, but it rarely happens. And what did every one of you say? Poor people are working really hard too. Like this is the thing. It's like, poor people aren't just sitting around, they're working. The vast majority of poor people in the United States hold full-time jobs. And so, if they weren't doing that, they'd be down here somewhere. So it's like somehow we have to convince ourselves that, this is like, it's a fair system and it works. And maybe it is fair. I don't know what is fair and what isn't fair. That's not for me to figure out. But what bothers me is when we have this idea that we get to a place like Penn State and we're all at the starting line in the same place. It's like we're not. We're born at different places in the starting line, and all the way through we're at different places. And somehow it's like, I don't know, just keeping that in mind. Dudes, what do you think about that graph that I just put up there? Did anybody, can you go back to that graph? Does anybody have a thought on that, by the way?
Stupid.
What's that?
Stupid.
What do you mean?
Like that sucks a little bit. I don't know. I mean, if we're all working the same, I feel like, I don't know. But I just feel like people with more money have more opportunities, I guess, because of their families and stuff. So that's why. But, like, I feel like that should be a thing. Like, kids that are going to college that don't have a lot of money should be given those opportunities, too. I don't know.
But how do you, right?
I don't know. You should start something.
Yeah. Well, listen. No, I can adopt you and Santini, actually.
Yeah.
All right. So, and no, but this is what it is, right? So it's like it kind of deflates a little bit. Like, I mean, I'm working hard. Like, you're working just as hard as the people who were up here the other day, if not harder. So, like, what's the difference? Does anybody else have anything they want to add?
I just think the hardest stigma for me, like I'm white, like I'm a white female, like growing up in such a diverse and very like rich area, no one knew like how poor my family was, and so when we put race in our social class, like it's hard. Like even when I moved to Pennsylvania, I was like, wow, there's a lot of poor white people here.
Dude, especially down by Hershey, man.
Yeah.
Is that where they live, down by
Yeah,
Hershey?
yeah. My dad actually lived behind 3 Mile Island.
I was just in Reading last weekend, and like, yeah, really, man. And yeah, right. So you're in a class like this, and I put these graphs up here, and you see white wealth and white wealth and white wealth, and then I'm looking at the two of you, and you're just sitting in this class going like, seriously, what the fuck? Seriously, like I'm not in that. And then you can be in the class, and then black and brown people can talk about discrimination and the issues that what happens to them and the things they face, all of which are real. But what does it say about you? Because no one's talking about class. It's like it's a form of built-in discrimination in a way that nobody talks about.